Welcome to my Notes Oracle DBA YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about transaction in PostgreSQL. So we know that what is a transaction. So as a simple definition, transaction is a sequence of operations that preserves consistency of the data provided to the operations or performed completely and without interference from other transactions. So whenever you are performing any transactions, kind of like you are booking a movie tickets or making a payments, or you are doing a ticket reservations, those are things or transactions. So the transaction should be successful or it could be failed. So these are the two major important in the transaction. So and the transaction properties are, so there are four types of properties when it comes to the transaction: atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So what is a atomicity? A transaction either completed in full or not completed at all. To the end, the begin of the transaction is marked with the begin command and end with commit or rollback, which means commit the changes or undo the changes. So what is a consistency? The transaction move the database from one consistent state to another consistent state, which means consistency means that certain restrictions are fulfilled. So what is the isolation? So the transaction running smoothly should not affect each other's. So durability. Once the data is committed, so even though server is crashed or something happened, those data cannot be moved from your server. That is the durability. Demo in our server. So for that, so let's switch back into my server. So this is my Postgres server. So I have plenty of clusters are running. So this is my data directory. So let me verify whether PG is in recovery or not. So for that I'm using this function, so which says that this cluster is, which is not a standby. So before we are testing it, we need to understand one parameter, the parameter name called auto commit. To verify the auto commit, so we have to just execute this one. So by default this parameter has been enabled. So whenever you are performing any transaction, until that explicitly if you are initiating a transaction with begin, so it has to be done either a commit or rollback. So remaining all the transaction has been automatically committed. So for that only we are going to create a one sample demo, create table test hide int name equal to text. So the table has been created. Let me insert some value. Okay, just single quotes. So here you can see that I never given any commit statement. So the statement itself automatically committed. You can just see select a star from test. So the ID value is 1 and name. So the transaction is already committed. Okay. Now if I explicitly created any transaction or performing a transaction, so for that we can use begin. So whenever you are initiating a begin, so that transaction is explicitly you are calling it. Okay. So here I am going to perform the same, insert into test and values to. So we already performed one more insert, right? Now if you inside the transaction, if I execute the select statement, what will happen? So inside the transaction, now it will show that ID1 as well as ID2, which means it will display the transaction of already committed the value of MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli as well. Okay, this is my another session. So what I did, I just taken that 5433. So I have connected my DB. Now I'm just verifying whether the table is exist or not. You can see that there is a table name called a test. Now I will just execute test Virat. So value is still part of my transaction. So whenever I just execute the select star from the table name, that value only represents on the particular screen itself or session itself. When the other session, which is try to execute the value, until that transaction should be commit. So if I did the commit, then the value will be displayed to the another session. If I did the rollback, so the changes won't be reflected here. Now what I will do, I'm going to previous session. So I did commit explicitly. Now I'm going to execute the same one. You can see here that Virat has been shown here. This time I didn't initiated any transaction with the begin. So I simply turned off that auto commit off. Okay, let's verify the same value. You can see that because doing that commit. So once I done, I will go back here. So now you can see that UV is been displayed over here. Now let's turn on auto commit. So I have done that auto commit on with the open transaction. So I just did here. Now I will create a save point. I can call it as S1 over here. So here I did a save point because the transaction is empty. Now I will add the value over here. Okay, so once the value has been added, now I will verify over here with the table name. So the Sachin has been displayed here. You can see that this transaction will be displayed under this particular session only because the transaction is not yet completed. Right now what I will do, I will just do the rollback to the save point. Okay, so here what I did, I performed a begin. So I just save the value save point of S1 and I perform the transaction of insert. So when I do the select star of the table, you can see that Sachin value over in the table, right? So once I done that rollback, so what will happen? Now I will execute the same. So still it shows that three values only because we perform the transaction. Step number 1, the begin. The step number 2 is the save point. Step number 3, I perform the insert. Then step number 4, again I am instructing to go to this save point, right? So I will add that. Now Sachin, I call that as the same. I will add E because for that variation purpose. So now I will do the commit. Now you can just go back to the another session. That value has been displayed, so which is totally changing. The changes have been rolled back but the transaction is still open. That's why when I performed a commit, so this transaction has been closed. You can see that session has been shown as a normal. So that's how the transaction has been working inside the PostgreSQL. I hope